What's up, everybody? Welcome to Res to Web, a digital insights podcast with your host, the tribal website guy, myself, Robert Jacobo. And I'm glad that you could be here today because we are going to bring attention to something extremely important across the Indigenous community. And that is what happens when our Indigenous artwork, our creativity gets taken. Because you bead, you paint, you sew, you create, and you've spent years learning from your friends, from your family, from your loved ones, putting your heart and soul into every stitch, every design, and then one day you see it. Your exact pattern mass-produced on a cheap bag in some online store, selling for pennies on the dollar. And guess what? You didn't get anything. You didn't get any credit. You didn't get any paid, cash, nothing. You didn't even know that it happened until it was too late. That feeling, that gut-wrenching punch, right? That's the reality for a lot of Indigenous artists that are out there today. And it's not just random companies stealing our designs. It's things like AI. It's big brands. It's social media accounts taking photos from our accounts and reposting them, selling knockoffs with no acknowledgement of who actually created the design, who actually created the work. And that is not okay, right? This isn't just about money, right? It's not just about getting paid. It's about the identity of the projects. It's about the respect. It's about the sovereignty of these projects and our culture, right? And at Res 2025, I got the illustrious opportunity to sit down with Lulu Henry, who is an absolutely incredible Indigenous designer. She started off like so many of us, learning from her family, figuring things out on her own, using things like YouTube, right? We like to call it YouTube University, to level up her business. But one thing that she said to me and that really stuck in her story was she said this. She said, I wanted to keep it traditional, but I also wanted it to feel like me. So I mixed in bold colors, modern designs, and someone called my work neo-traditional. And that stuck with me. Now, that is what it is all about, the evolution, the adaptation, the creativity. But how do we protect that creativity? So let's dive into it. Let's talk about it. Because if we don't take action, our stories won't be ours anymore. So let's jump right into it. Because in order for us to protect our creativity, we have to know and understand how our art is being taken right now. So for us, let's jump right into it. Fake native-inspired art is everywhere. Beadwork patterns being sold by non-native Etsy sellers, things on Pinterest, knockoff ribbon skirts being sold, regalia popping up on Amazon, AI-generated native designs, they're made from stolen patterns being sold. Social media, that itself is a double-edged sword because as an artist, we go to post our art to get seen, to get sales. But once it's out there, anyone can download it, anyone can copy it and resell it. And some companies even use things like AI bots to go ahead and scrape social media accounts, to scrape Indigenous art from places like Instagram and feed it into design software. Museums and corporations we even have to look out for because they're digitizing our work without us. The Miami and Peoria Nations, actually, they just recently found their painted robes sitting in a French museum, hidden away for over 300 years, all the way across the pond. And now museums are saying this. They're saying, we're preserving your culture by digitizing it. But then we have to turn around and ask ourselves this question. Who owns that digital copy? Not us. So what does this mean for you? It means that without protection, what you create today could be stolen tomorrow. But don't stress about it because we're about to get into the solutions. All right, so let's jump into it because how do we protect ourselves? How do we protect our work from our competitors and these agencies and these companies that are out there? Well, you might be thinking, I get it, Rob. My work could get stolen, but what am I supposed to do about it? I'm just trying to make a living selling beadwork, regalia, or paintings. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a tech expert. How do I actually protect myself in the digital space? Now, if this sounds like you or something that you've dealt with, let's break that down. No policy talk here. right? Just practical steps. First and foremost, you can mark your work. Take that extra step to add watermarks or hidden details into your designs. The next thing you can also do is use metadata, small digital tags that identify you as the artist. And if you want to take it a step further, you can even post in progress shots so people can't just steal the final image. The next thing that you can do is control where you sell. Etsy and Shopify have copyright protections, so use them. And if you're selling on Facebook or Instagram, keep your original designs off of public posts. Look into native e-commerce spaces that prioritize Indigenous sellers. The next thing that you can also do, and I advise this for everybody that's out there, especially in the Indigenous artwork community, is to call it out when you see it. If you find your work or someone else's work that's stolen, report it immediately. Educate your buyers, the people that are on social media. Educate them on how to tell real Indigenous art from the fakes. Support real Native artists, because our power is in our community. You don't need to be a lawyer or a policy expert. You just need to start thinking about your art like you think about your land, something sacred, something that needs protection. And that brings us to the next big problem. What happens when a big company steals artwork from all of us at once? When it comes to big companies, big agencies, we have to realize that we're fighting the fight of stopping cultural exploitation because we're not all just one tribe. Now let's address something important. Native art is not one size fits all. A Lakota quillwork pattern is not the same as a Dene rug design, and a Mojave beaded cape is not the same as a Coast Salish formline print. But guess what? A lot of times to the outside world, we're just Native inspired. Now this is why protections matter, because when big brands lump us all together, they tend to erase our tribal identities. When AI goes into the computer and scrapes our designs from social media posts, it treats our cultures like free clip art that you would find on Microsoft Office. When companies profit off of our work without us, it's another form of theft. We need to take back control, not just for individual artists, but for all of us. So what's next? How do we turn this conversation into action? So how do we do it? How do we take back control? Well, the unfortunate truth is this. If we don't protect our art, if we don't protect our designs, we lose more than just designs. We lose control of our stories. Now, throwing this to the artist, you don't have to fight this alone. Go out there, join Native-run initiatives that help protect your digital artwork. Join platforms that value Indigenous artists. And to tribal leaders, we need clear protections for digital Indigenous art. If we're protecting our lands and languages, we should be protecting our creative economies too. And to the supporters and the advocates that are out there, stop buying knockoff Indigenous-inspired art. Find and support real Indigenous artists, people like Lulu Henry and many others. Imagine a future where your beadwork, your regalia, your digital art is safe, where no one can take it without permission. That future starts with us, right now. And here we go. I'll leave you with this final thought. Every stitch, every brushstroke, every pixel, it's a record of who we are. Protecting our art isn't just about preserving the past. It's about securing our future. Now, sovereignty, it's not just political. It's creative, it's digital, and it's in our hands. So join the movement, subscribe, and follow us for more Res to Web episodes as we continue our journey to take action. You can visit our website at www.indigenousmediagroup.com and also find us on platforms such as Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn at the Tribal Website Guy. Until next time, guys, have a good one and take care.